And it's set up.
Yep.
Okay. All right, everyone. Kind of an exciting night. It's a lot of preparation. We've been on a journey and everybody's been joining in, seeing each week how things unfold, the different components and pieces to this amazing puzzle. And tonight we're going to talk about the MedBed experience itself, because a lot of what we've been doing in preparation is to get ourselves into that state of grace, that state of being, so that our soul is in alignment for that level of healing. The quantum field is a vast energy field that has absolutely everything to do with everything. So when you put your heart and soul and your systems into the hands of the quantum field, you have to know that the creator of all that is holy and divine is definitely in charge of helping you, supporting you, healing you, realigning you. We know that those who have woken up first are definitely destined to be guides and angels on earth. You're going to be helping a lot of people, not just yourself. And we look forward to seeing how that all unfolds, so that we're no longer in a place where, misery is the name of the day. We're entering into the quantum field of mastery is the name of the day. So whatever you as a person and a soul are prepared to master in the way of clearing, healing, shifting, changing, opening, releasing, it's all balance. It's all part of what will bring you into a state of grace and being that you can absolutely be the best that you can be. And I know we've different times thought of, I wish I knew when I was younger what I know now. Well, guess what? That's about to become a reality. And I think that's pretty extraordinary that we have the opportunity as human beings to bring our divinity into the moment of when humanity as a whole is being gifted with a full awake and aware state of being. It's not going to happen for everybody, first off. And in the beginning, it's basically those who have committed themselves to doing the work, to opening their hearts to a better world, knowing somehow at soul level and within your heart that you've been called to this work. And for those who have shown up on the first line of service, we'll call it, that you really are a special soul in so many levels, in so many ways. You've already agreed to this part of your journey. So, the idea of just showing up seems pretty simple, but there are many things that we still have to consider and work with as far as being vibrationally in alignment for the MedBed experience. So let's just take a moment and we're going to do a prayer of unity, bring our hearts and souls and energies together, create a vision of where we want to go tonight as a group, what we want to discuss, what we want to share, and perhaps even vibrationally activate, because a lot of the work that we're doing right now is being activated at a very high level with a very deep grounding, which is going to be required to keep us in that sweet state of grace that allows us to do the work. So just taking in some nice deep breaths. We know that the breath of relaxation is the most important part of setting the stage for our inner soul and heart to know that we are currently working on having our information updated. We know that each and every cell in our body is being recalibrated. We also know that somewhere deep inside, whatever it is that we still hold on to that is not in alignment for our new reality, that we need to have the willingness within our heart and spirit to just release it. And we'll use the out breath for doing that. Let's use the out breath as a gentle releasing of any residuals that you may be holding on to, any limitations that you may feel that for whatever reason are still necessary. Just let go and breathe out the idea that you still need them. Think of those limitations as the guide wheels or the limitation wheels that you have on your human vehicle. And we're just going to let the wheels fall off. We're just going to let them go. And we know that the new level of vibration and frequency that our human vehicle is much lighter. It's much more healthy. It's much more in alignment and attunement to the cosmic waves of light that are coming from the sun right now. Each and every day, every breath that we take, the codes are being embodied. They're shifting into our cells and they're awakening memories. They're activating aspects of our DNA that have been dormant or sleeping. Those codes of light have been touching a part of our hearts and souls that is just illuminating our inner core. Whereas before we looked outward to the sun as the illumination of the world. Right now, we're just going to take a breath in and recognize and honor the illumination that is happening inside right now. Just feel that illumination. Just feel your heart that is so ever gently resonating inside that resonation and activation. Just know that your heart is the perfect design that is like a control central, no different from the sun, energetically, angelically. Your divinity is all a part of the very essence of that energy. Just take a few moments and personally give thanks and gratitude, not only to your own soul for having the courage to show up each and every week and take this journey, but also to the spirit and the general collective of humanity that is being blessed by your efforts, by your willingness, by your love, and most of all right now by your commitment. Committing yourself to this process and to this journey has taken every ounce of strength that you have. It has taken every bit of what you have learned, what you have suffered, what you have sacrificed. And now it elevates it in this moment to a state of grace called service. And in that elevated state of service, that is where your wisdom will guide you. It will show you the way, and it will help you find even greater strengths within you to draw from and to draw upon in the days to come. Many things are going to be shown to each and every human. Some will see it as fearful, some will see it as judgmental, and yet others will see it as opportunity. And I pray that right now you embrace the concept of opportunity. And in this beautiful energy of opportunity, you will see ways of forgiving yourself more easily, forgiving others effortlessly, releasing any sense of responsibility for the world and the state that it's in, for truly it is not your job. Your one and only job is to be free and loving and kind and gentle of spirit and nature. To understand that each and every soul that is upon this planet is a part of the plan. Each and every heart and soul that a human embodies right now is a part of the process. And they are no different than yourself, although they may be on a different step on the journey. The destination is the same for each and every one. And for those who will not allow this beautiful world, this peaceful state, this heaven on earth reality, for those who will not allow themselves to live in that state of being, they will remove themselves. It is not your job to educate or to allocate anything in their favor or on their behalf. Bless them for the role that they're playing. Bless their soul for the courage that it takes to learn what they're learning, doing what they're doing, contributing what is being contributed, and know that it is just as valuable and essential to the evolution of the world. And we know right now that it is even beyond that. It's part of the evolution of the universe. Every solar system, every planet, every star, every aspect of the entire universe is moving forward in this evolutionary journey and blossoming into a new state of awareness. You're a part of something incredibly special. And although you may see yourself as very ordinary, your guides and angels right now are here to remind you you're extraordinary in what you are doing, in what you have done, and for what you are about to do in showing the way. And so it is, as we close our opening prayer, we now open the medbed experience. So a little bit of what we discussed last week, there were some concerns or some controversy, we'll call it, about what do we call this place? What do we call the people? What do we call each other? This is new territory. This is new world. And as I was able to really check with spirit and say, you know, how do we identify? How do we relate to this beautiful facility that we are co-creating together? And what was made very clear to me is that this journey is to be envisioned and remembered and addressed as a beautiful journey that's taken to a place that most of us would have identified as Shambhala. Shambhala is a place where everyone is the purest form of themselves. They are the most benevolent part of what God embodied can be. And so it really is coming to a place that we call a resort. And at that resort, you are welcomed as someone who is there for the purpose of enjoying yourself, to enhance whatever part of life you are currently willing to experience. It's to bring the enjoyment of why you were there and what is about to take place to an elevated state of looking forward to it. In other words, your greatest trip that you've ever planned, take it and multiply it 10 times or 1,000 times over, and just show up for the greatest time that can possibly happen to you as a soul. And see yourself as a visitor. Yes, there's a lot of things that are going to go on at this center. There's a lot of things that are going to happen at this center. But you are welcomed here as someone who is a part of what's happening. You're not there as a patient. You're not there as a client. You're not there as a broken piece of humanity that's there for a tune-up. None of that. None of that is the energy of this beautiful place we're creating. You are a guest, a most welcomed guest, whose heart has called them to that experience because you are capable of it, you're ready for it, and your soul has called you there for that purpose. So show up with as little baggage and luggage as you possibly can, because nothing that you bring in will probably fit when you leave. So expect a lot of what is taking place from the moment you are welcomed in the front doors to when you are escorted to the exit of the best part of the experience that you have just been through, where everyone lines the halls and just gives you the greatest farewell, the greatest sense of good luck with your new life, the hugs, the heartfelt congratulations, we may not be walking out the door with you, but a part of us is and always will be with you, because we know that whatever you have just experienced is about to change the world in a very profound way. So the gratitude and thankfulness for those who will walk with you through that entire process It's like walking down the hall and somebody genuinely saying to you, um, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you came. It's so good to see you. I can't wait to see where this takes you and what happens from this moment on. So yes, think of it as more of a journey to Shambhala than I'm going in to get fixed. There is nothing about you that needs to be fixed. But as those who have chosen to serve humanity at the level that we have, there are some things that need to be altered so that we can do the best possible job that we can do. So it's up to us to define what that is. And as we create a vision for ourselves, part of the responsibility that we have is to really take to heart, what will it mean if I change this part? And what will it mean if I change that part? And you will find that some of the things will bring excitement to your heart and your soul and your spirit. It's like, oh, I can't wait to have freedom and no pain. That's exciting. And there's no questioning about that. But there may be other aspects of this process that the changes are unexpected, or the changes may be more than your soul is ready for. And that's where the actual quantum team comes in, because they have the grander vision, they have the greater good of your soul in mind, and they will say to you, this part is definitely something that we can work with and change, but this part you may want to reconsider. And they will help you and guide you and assist you in how much change your soul can handle, and do it graciously and healthily. Not every change can all happen at the same time. But we know the biggest change that every human soul needs to experience is going to happen before you get there, before that medbed moment. The greatest amount of changes that you can do are the ones that we're working on through this process, so that you can be connected to what is right for you. You can be connected to your heart and how it aligns itself to a completely healthy lifestyle. Things need to change, and we're praying for change, and we're lining up for change. But a lot of that change has to come from your own soul. So take that into consideration as your dream vision of the new you is being shown to you, either in dream state or meditation state, or some of what we'll work with tonight. I have dropped it into the chat. If you haven't seen, there is the medbed map is there. Things to consider when you are personally looking at going through a medbed treatment. So let's start with the mental aspects of going through the medbed experience. It has been made very clear that mentally, there are things that will be able to be changed for you. In other words, greater clarity. If the brain has experienced any injuries, that will be corrected. If the mind has difficulty with cognitive processing, thinking, memory, all of those things that are actual functional when it comes to the mental aspects of ourselves, those can be and will be corrected. But the beliefs that you hold and the memories that you hold are personal to you. They are part of your free will. They are part of the programming that you as a soul have chosen to challenge yourself in many aspects of life. So if those are things that trouble you or disturb you or upset you when it comes to memories, they can be erased if it's a trauma situation, if it's an intense memory that has altered your ability to function mentally, that can be corrected. But as far as most of your beliefs and most of your programs that you run based on your soul experience, that is your responsibility to show up and correct within yourself. So take that into consideration, that there's always part of the mental that can be addressed, but there's part of it that can't. Part of it that you're going to be responsible for are the worries, the doubts, and the limitations that you have placed on yourself. That's your responsibility. And that's part of what we have designed this process to help you walk through. You will have others to help you if there's still some things that are residuals or still affecting some of your ability to be completely and mentally free. I think it's going to be important that you define for yourself, what does that mean? That's not up to someone else to define for you. That's for you to define. What do I need to release as far as beliefs go so I can be completely free? Okay. On the emotional side, emotions are something that the med bed is able to soothe and comfort, but the correction again is going to be up to you. Our emotions are there as part of our guidance system. They are part of a natural way of a human being having discernment and sense of connection to others, relationships with others. So emotions again are something that are essential to our human experience. So it's not that they are going to be removed. They may, for a period of time, give you a clean slate. And what you want to build on top of that is going to be up to you. If you want to go back into the trauma, drama, karma, have at it. But I think by now, most of us have decided that that's not something we want to go back to. We would rather stay in a state of emotional balance where we are feeling good about ourselves. We're feeling good about life. We're feeling good about our bodies at this point. We're feeling good about relationships because we know how to navigate them. And our emotions are one of the most important parts of our navigation system. Our feelings are what's underneath all the emotions. And when we really respect and honor our feelings, they remain clean and clear. When our emotions step in, that tells you that somebody's rocking your world, rocking your boat. Something has happened either in your external world or your internal world that has triggered you. The medbed is not going to correct that. It's going to help you feel more in alignment, more in balance so that you can cope with things easier. But again, the actual emotional part of life is still going to be in your hands and your free will choice. So moving into spiritually, there's a lot of things that our bodies have experienced and been through in the human journey, right from the moment we pass through the veil of forgetfulness. And as we walk the earth, taking on the imprints, programs, and influences of others, that can be corrected to some degree, unless your soul still has lessons to learn when it comes to different aspects of it. Spiritually speaking, you can go in with the best of intentions that you are going to be clean and clear as a spirit soul. But if there's still things that are necessary for your evolution, if they're still in place, they will remain intact after your treatment. So perfection is not the name of the game here. Correction is the name of the game, not perfection. So just take that in for a moment. Correcting things that are out of balance, out of harmony, out of sync. If your circadian rhythms are off because of all the things that are happening, that is going to be corrected, and you will be connected to source at a much higher level with a much deeper relatability to the earth. Being connected to Mother Nature is very essential in the process that we are in on the human experience here on the planet. And there's been a lot of programs and belief systems put in place to disconnect us from that. And that's part of our spiritual process that will be corrected as well. Your identity. Every time we change how we look, how we feel, what we think, we develop a newer version of our identity. So in other words, if you look this way today and you were in an accident and you look that way tomorrow, it's different. Our identity can change dramatically. It can change subtly. It doesn't matter if it changes. You need to understand how to be able to change with it, to embrace it, to accept it, instead of react to it. Your identity is something that is always evolving. And even with this medbed experience, where our aging process is going to be can be, not everyone will choose it, but can be taken back to a younger version of you. That younger version of you will have a different identity, even though at soul level you're the same person. All of a sudden, how you relate to yourself and how you relate to the world is going to change. And certainly how they relate to you. If you're doing the age regression, there's a significant difference between who you are today and who you were at 28 or 30. You can't relate to both of them in the same way. And the world around you is certainly going to relate to it very differently as well. Some people will be shocked. Other people may be excited for you. But it's how you relate to it and how you react to it that is going to make a difference between you feeling better about yourself or feeling overwhelmed. Take that into consideration when it comes to identity. Authenticity, the real you, when you start to see it without all the programs and all the distortions, all the dysfunctions. To be your real authentic self takes courage. It doesn't matter what you look like. If you are not being authentic, if you are not being your real self, if you are not being true to who you are, then you're not going to be happy. And I believe a lot of this reset process is about creating the opportunity to be as happy as you possibly can. When you take out all the unbalanced health issues, and all of a sudden there you are, raw, naked, beautiful, balanced the way you were designed to be from day one without any of the things that have happened to you or the distortions that took place. Being your authentic self takes courage. So I would write that word down and underline it, because soul courage is going to be required through this entire process. The courage that brought you to this group was significant. The courage that brings you every week, it takes commitment. It takes courage to sometimes listen to things you want to hear and some things you don't want to hear. But it's up to you to discern what works for you, what helps you, what makes you feel better, and what doesn't. So yeah, authentic self is going to be a real challenge that requires a phenomenal amount of soul courage. Your personality will inevitably change. For some, it may be subtle. For others, it may be extreme. Because all of a sudden, if all the limitations that kept you from being this beautiful, young soul that just in your heart and soul you wanted to dance, but your physical body was never able to do that, well, now all of a sudden, your personality is like a butterfly coming out of the cocoon. It's got wings, it's got movement, it's got vitality, it's got this new range of possibilities and potential that it's going to want to live. So it's prepare for a subtle change, but also prepare for the idea, what if the change of removing all my physical limitations just sets me free in a way that I have never experienced? Am I okay with that? Am I up for that? And remember, your soul won't call you to it if it can't take you through it. So either way is a blessing, and either way is going to be exciting. On the physical level, the MedBed experience has endless possibilities. And it really is taking into consideration that physically, I don't believe there's anyone on the planet that has ever said, I'm perfect just the way I am. You can say it. The words can come out, but when it comes to aligning it to the truth within your heart and soul, I think we're all very critical of our physical bodies. We're all very judgmental of how they work, how they age, how they function. When they don't function, we're incredibly critical and judgmental of our physical bodies. So it is essential that you take a different perspective when it comes to physical body, and know that it doesn't matter what your size is, it doesn't matter what your age is, it doesn't matter what your shape is. We say that, we speak it easily, but you as a soul need to take that into your own heart center and truly determine for yourself, do I need to be a different shape. What would that mean? How would that affect me? What would that provide for me that I don't have now? And is the change worth experiencing it for the rest of my existence as a human on this planet? So really ask yourself these important truth questions from a place of discernment and not just looking at an incredibly beautiful person or in a magazine and saying, I want to look like that. Well, a lot of the beauty and the wonder of the soul that is you comes from the way you look, the shape you are, the size you are. That is part of your identity. That's part of who you are. So physically changing a lot or everything is not necessarily suggested or recommended. This will also be factored in by the quantum team. So you may go in saying, okay, Pamela Anderson, here I come. And the quantum team will go, no, she was always way too top heavy. You won't like that. It's hard on the back. So it's trusting that the quantum team is there to assist you in being realistic, in being balanced, and to the best of your ability as a soul with your personality and with your purpose on the planet. There are things that will be required physically that will be established at the time. You can ask questions at your review when you go in. They will do a complete assessment. And you may want to write some questions down because we all know what it's like when you go in for any kind of an interview or any kind of an appointment. First thing that happens is the mind goes blank. I had 100 questions before I walked in, and right now the only question I have is, what was I supposed to ask? So yeah, take a little list with you if you feel things are really important to you and essential to you as a soul. It does not guarantee those will happen, but at least you will have voiced them and you will have shared them to the best of your ability and put it into the possibility realm. Okay. Financial. Now, why would the med bed have any effect on you financially? The best way I can describe that is that the new gold standard, the new quantum field, the new frequencies that are there are in complete alignment with abundance on all levels. So if you have any programs running inside of you that are out of alignment with abundance, prosperity, and financial freedom, those frequencies are going to be corrected inside of you so that your whole concept of potential and possibility will be in alignment with anything's possible. So that's going to open up the doors for you to do anything that you want to do. And when you take away the education system that we have formerly had, it was all based on, let's keep them dumbed down, let's keep them limited, let's keep them in a state of, that doubt that they can really do what their heart wants to do, what they've always dreamed of doing. Let's just make sure that they never reach that frequency. Well, those limiters are going to be removed. And what you are here to do as a soul, and we talked a little bit about that last week in Dreams and Desires. Your soul came here with a purpose. You came here with a vision. You came here with a plan. And once all of the limitations and conditions that have kept you from actually manifesting that are removed, now all of a sudden your heart's this magical manifester that's just as quick as you can imagine it, believe it, hold it, envision it. As quick as you can do that, it's going to start happening. So I think that will be, it's one of the most exciting things about the whole process, but it's also one of the most overwhelming. Who will I be if I have no limitations? What will I do? Where will I go? What will happen? And all I can tell each and every one of you with the very, depth of my heart, that's a story that you have yet to write. But never forget, you're still the author of it. You still get to request, you still get to envision, you still get to manifest what you want, what you desire, and trust on every level it is what you deserve. because God never put a limit on any one of us, ever. We're the ones that did that. Okay, so social, yes, things are going to change dramatically when it comes to social, especially for the first few that go through the process. This is new. It can be overwhelming, not only for yourself, but for those that love you and perhaps are not in alignment with having the process done themselves. So we have, through the COVID experience, seen a lot of division, a lot of separation, a lot of people polarized in opposite directions. That is going to continue. And it's going to polarize to the point where, it's people who are in alignment with the new reality and heaven on earth are going to be in this frequency that just rises up and continues to rise. And those who are afraid or judge it or fear it in a way that they just can't allow themselves to experience it, they're going to take a different door exit. And we're going to see a lot of that happening. So as much as we would rather everyone that we loved was able to make the choice that we have felt comfortable making, not everyone is going to make that choice. And you need to prepare your heart and soul for that to also be a part of the process. So it's not about fearing it. It's not about anticipating it's going to be horrible and terrible to lose your loved ones. It really comes down to respecting that this is their soul's request. This is what they have determined for themselves as a soul in an evolutionary journey. This is what works best for them. And to be able to love them where they are in the state that they are in, and to be yourself as someone who can just extend your love, your support, your care to them no matter what. So also put that into your vision as you're creating your own medbed experience and journey. Community is going to change. You're going to find people polarizing more and more towards communities that have already been through the healing process. They're going to thrive at a whole different level. The abundance is going to be at a completely different level. The way that you support each other is going to be phenomenally different. So in other words, when one benefits, they all benefit. Where one contributes love in ways through their skills and abilities, no one is going to try and compete or compare. They're just going to enjoy the fact that that's you, and that's what you bring to the community, and that's what you share within the community. And each of those who step forward into these new communities are really going to feel the pleasure of what it is like to not only get along, but to feel the support and the love and the care that comes from just being yourself, surrounded by other people who have the courage to just be themselves too. So that's going to be exciting. And to watch the children in the new community is going to be just phenomenal, to see the difference that it makes for them. They adjust much more quickly than the adults. The children will adjust incredibly easy compared to those who are older. They will just love the new dynamics. They'll love the new energy. They'll love the new frequency. And they are going to absolutely be blown away by their new freedom. No more school. No more you have to do this and you have to do it this way, and the only way is this way. These kids are going to be able to fulfill their soul's purpose right from the get-go, right from the moment that they arrive in these communities. They're going to be celebrated and nurtured and cared about and cared for, and go back to having freedom where they can come and go. It doesn't matter whether they're in the presence of their own family or anybody else's family. They're family, and they will be accepted as that. So that, the children are really going to flourish in this new community. The unity that you will find happening will be powerful as we all start to build things together again. It used to be that communities worked together, they prayed together, they celebrated together, they honored each other in a way that was communal. They came together in honor of life and seasons and harvests and spring planting to bring this all back into prayer and into getting connected with Mother Nature to unify the whole so that everybody just doesn't survive, they thrive. That has really been missing in the human experience for a very long time. So that is going to be part of what the changes in your medbed experience bring, is just this connection that you didn't have fully open. You can think of it as a tap. We had an intermittent connection. Sometimes we connect, sometimes we didn't. Sometimes it flowed freely, sometimes it didn't flow at all. Well, think of the energy as it continues to be reprogrammed and realigned within you, constantly and consistently flowing. That is going to radiate out into every part of your life, including community. Family will go back to actually having a unit, a unified sense of mother and father and what that means. Our broken families between certainly the last 30 years, maybe 50 years, where they've been parented by one or the other and separately, very rarely together as one family unit. There's not a lot of families that seem to stay together from the beginning to the end. It is a struggle for those that do. We know that financially it has been an incredible struggle. But again, taking all these factors out and having an energetic resonance that flows between people, that is going to change how families and how the dynamics work as well. So you go in as a single person, but you really come out as a community member of the universe, and you're open to others in a way that you would not have been open before. It's it's pretty exciting to know that we have a whole different world coming, and the role that we play in it is just, it's all up to you and the willingness that you have within yourself to be a part of something greater. So yeah, so that pretty well covers the different aspects to consider. And when you think of the individual things, it may seem that it doesn't really, or it's not significant for everything. But looking through the chart, I really challenge you to take a look at what resonates with you as something that your soul would benefit from, or that it may challenge you. And not to say that we're not open to taking on new challenges. Of course we are. That's what souls do. But consider it all as a package happening at the same time. And just know that between what your soul desires and what you think you want, there may be a gap, there may be a difference. And I know that the quantum team will help you sort through some of that. But I also think that it's part of the responsibility as us who are the way showers in the first line to go through this process. It's important for us to really connect to what it means, what it feels like, what is happening, because you are going to be someone that will be an emissary in your communities to speak to others about your experience and to talk to them about the choices that they will be making. So you're not just doing this for you. You are doing it for you first, and that is a priority, but you're also doing it for the sake of others who will follow you. And that's pretty important. Those who are working at the centers, those that are helping build the centers and their families will be the first ones invited to the MedBed experience. Anyone that has someone in their family that doesn't want to go through the process, you need to consider and respect that and not try and force it or convince them. It really is, use your discernment and use your respect. Not everyone is destined for this. So it's lots of choices and decisions will be made. Okay, I'm going to open up the floor for questions at this point. And for those that are genuinely looking at this as a soul experience that you have come here to manifest, to create, really take that to heart and don't let your head convince you otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to your heart. Your heart came with the plan. It came with the blueprint. It came with the ideas, the sources, the solution, the ways and the means. So listen to your heart and know that it's an incredible time to be a human being. It's an incredible time to be a universal being, because apparently we are the biggest ticket and show on going around. Everybody wants to be doing what we're doing. And I'm sure there's many days we wish it was them and not us. But here we are, soldiers of skin and bone, doing our thing to the best of our ability. So yeah, go ahead. If anybody has questions, now's a good time to ask.
Donna, would you like me to end the recording here before we go with the questions?
Sure. Thank you.